Namaste and welcome back to the Awaken Living podcast with Nibodhi. Today's episode is very important. It might be one of the most important conversations we've had. And not because it's complex or anything like that, but actually because it's so simple and it's so human. And it's one of the most overlooked things in society today. We live in a world that is filled with epidemics and pandemics. Not like you'd think. It's not like COVID. It's epidemics and pandemics of loneliness, of depression, of anxiety, of separation, and of addiction. But there's a silent epidemic that is not spoken of. And I think that it's one that is really draining the vitality and spirit of men everywhere. It's what's called hug starvation. Hug starvation. Men are suffering from hug starvation. And this is an epidemic we need to talk about. And it should be on the headlines of every single news station in the world. That's my view on it. The simple truth is that hugs are an absolutely essential nutrient for life. A world-renowned family therapist shared something that's so profound, it blew my mind. We need a minimum of 4 hugs a day just to survive. We need 7 hugs a day for basic human maintenance and 12 hugs a day for growth. 12 hugs a day for growth. Now, think about this for a minute. Pause and ask yourself this. When was the last time you got 12 genuine hugs in one single day? For many men who I have talked to, the answer wasn't yesterday or last week. The answer has been pretty consistent. I can't even remember. That's the answer. Most men can't remember the last time they got 12 hugs in the day. And here's the thing. It's not just men. Women also need hugs. Women need at least 8 hugs a day to stay balanced, with 12 being ideal. And it's not just that quick little pat on the back kind of hug. The science is telling us that we need 20-second hugs, 20-second embraces in order for the body to release oxytocin. What oxytocin is that love hormone. It's the hormone that tells us that we're safe, that we can trust someone, that we're connected to another human being, that we're connected to life. It takes 20 seconds for that to happen. And this is modern science. They call it the science of affectionate touch. And what that tells us is that when we're hugged safely and fully by someone we trust, our body does miracles. It releases oxytocin. That's the bonding hormone. That's what allows us to feel love. It's that simple. And biologically, one of the things oxytocin does is lowers our cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, which keeps us dysregulated. What oxytocin does is regulates us. It regulates our heart. It regulates and strengthens our immune system, and it allows us to feel that we're safe. Very simple. It allows us to feel safe. Touch also boosts our dopamine and serotonin, which are the happiness and contentment hormones, and are essentially the hormones responsible that stabilize our mood and help to rewire the brain so we move from that sympathetic fight, freeze, fawn, or flight state of survival into one of thriving, into one of connection, of belonging. But if we lack touch, the body is starved of affection, and the impacts are undeniable. We live in a dysregulated world. There was a psychologist, Corey Floyd, who studied over 500 people, and in that study he found that those who were deprived of affectionate touch were lonelier, less happy, more prone to depression and anxiety, and suffered from weaker immune systems with more frequent colds, more frequent illnesses, things like this. This isn't sentimentality. This is basic human biology. The basic human biology tells us that we need touch and we need hugs and we need longer hugs. There's also skin hunger. The body aches to be touched. The skin is the source of our immune system. It's how we experience the world. I mean, everyone must have felt this at some point in our lives, right? That gnawing, aching desire to be close to someone, to feel touch. This is what I think a huge amount of the dating apps are about. People just need touch. Touch is real food. It's as real as the hunger in our stomach. It's ultimately the longing of the soul. It's the longing of the nervous system to be held, to be soothed, to belong. And touch is the very first sense we experience when we're in our mother's womb. Touch is the oldest language on the planet, and our skin is the largest organ. It never, ever stops talking to us. It's always speaking. It's always giving us a message, whether we're safe or not safe, whether we're loved or not loved. Take a newborn child, for example. When that newborn is held, their entire physiology is programmed to believe that they're loved and they are safe and they can trust the world. Without touch, that safety withers away and that child goes into instant fight or flight. It doesn't know that it's safe. It doesn't know where its mother is. And adults are not different from children. We're just big children with a more developed, or some would argue, a less developed prefrontal cortex. We may not cry like infants, well, at least not in the way that an infant cries, but we cry in other ways. We cry with our addictions. We cry through stress. We cry through sleeplessness, through loneliness, through the collapse of our immune system, through the incessant scrolling on the internet. It's a kind of despair, actually. It's this quiet despair of our own disconnection, first to ourselves and then to the world. It is essential that we are touched. But men apparently suffer more deeply than women do than when they're not hugged. And this is really devastating for men because from a young age, men are taught, boys don't cry, be tough, be a man up, don't cling, don't need. And that vulnerability, that sensitivity, that empathy is stripped away from us. And along with that, we stop touching each other. We stop hugging each other. And by the time we reach adulthood, the only real socially acceptable form of touch is a high five or a fist bump or like touching the left arm or something. And most men are left to believe that the only touch that we should get is through sex with a partner or something like this. And what if you have no partner? What if you have no one to touch? What happens then? That leads to all sorts of unhealthy addictions. It's devastating, really. I know men who go weeks or months and sometimes even years without a single nourishing hug. That is sad. That is horrifically sad. And here's another sad truth. For heterosexual men, touch from other men doesn't satisfy that deep hunger. It doesn't mean repression or homophobia. It means biology. Humans are wired for pair bonding. Romantic touch carries layers, deep layers of acceptance. It carries layers of desire, and it carries layers of being valued that platonic touch doesn't always replace. It can, but not always. And this is why I say that hug starvation is a symptom of something deeper, romantic starvation. And that romantic starvation itself is part of an even larger epidemic, which is profound loneliness. So many men are living with profound loneliness, even in intimate relationships. I mean, the divorce rate in America is over 50%. I've talked to so many couples who not only do they not sleep together, they don't hug each other. They don't touch each other at all. Men go to work and come home and they don't touch their children. From an Ayurvedic perspective, from the Vedic psychology perspective, the heart chakra becomes depleted. The heart chakra, anahata, the hridayam, that is the seat of divine love, the seat of connection. And when it's touched, it blossoms like a lotus flower. And when it's deprived, it withers up, it contracts like the leaves on the trees in the fall. They dry up and wither away in joylessness. In Ayurveda, the skin called twak is governed by Vata dosha. That is prana. That is life force. That's the principle of movement and lightness and stability or instability. Vata is air and space element. It needs grounding. It longs for grounding. That's its essence. And touch, warm touch, and oil too are medicine that bring balance. This is why Ayurveda is so keen on the abhyanga practice, the daily practice of warm oil on the body, self-massage, giving yourself that touch. because it builds our ojas, it builds our immunity, it builds that vital essence. It strengthens the skin, which is the natural immune system and nervous system. Ojas ultimately is what sustains life. It sustains physical immunity, emotional resilience. It builds our longevity. It strengthens the telomeres, and those are the longevity strands. So when we go without touch, we're without ojas. We're without immunity. We go without emotional resilience, and it shortens our life. And men specifically experience this depletion on every level. Hugs are not luxury. They are medicine. It's an essential part of life, just like breath. And there's major consequences to touch starvation. When men don't receive touch that they need, these effects ripple out into every aspect of life. Emotionally, they feel lonely and irritable and numb and become very aggressive. And they seek unhealthy behavior substitutes, porn, sex that's not with anyone that they care about or love. They just go on the app, swipe right or left or whatever it is for the night and hook up with someone. Meaningless sex or substance abuse. And all of this is not saying that those things are bad. They're there to try, all addictions actually are there to try and solve a fundamental problem. We're not feeling connection. All the addictions are trying to get a little bit of dopamine, a little bit of serotonin, a little bit of oxytocin so we can feel okay. Sex, porn, substances, this is all just to get a little bit of taste of intimacy. And when we're not touched, relationally, men struggle to form or sustain lasting, meaningful bonds. And that also creates more and more isolation. It just perpetuates the situation. And from that, physically, our cortisol levels go up, the stress hormones go up, the immune system drops again, our sleep suffers. The whole physical heart has to work twice as hard. So Ayurveda calls this ojakshaya, the depletion of our ojas. Modern science calls it chronic stress, basically. The truth is the same, regardless. Men are starving for something so simple and so basic, touch. Hug starvation, how to heal it. What can we do to heal this lack of hugs? Well, first and foremost is what we're doing right now, just naming it, being aware of this being a fundamental problem, that men are suffering from a lack of affection. And when we don't talk about it, when we remain silent, that keeps us in starvation. You don't know your child is hungry if they're not crying. You don't know your partner wants something to eat if they don't tell you. So the first thing we need to do is name it and become aware of it. Awareness is everything. And then from there, we can normalize safe, non-sexual touch. We can normalize hugging people. We can, fathers, if you have children, normalize hugging your children. Friends, if you have friends that you see every day, put your hand on each other's shoulder. But that's something. But give a big hug, give a 20-second hug. Reclaim affection from shame. It is not shameful to hug your male friend for 20 seconds. That is love. If you love someone, hug them, right? And then the most important thing, or equally as important, is self-nourishing. We have to love ourselves. If we can't love ourselves, how are we going to love someone else? Or how are we going to let someone else love in? So Ayurveda, again, gives the practice of this abhyanga, of self-oil massage. It's also called snehana, to love oneself. Getting massage, going to massage therapy, getting trauma-informed body work is really good. Doing partner yoga is really good. And as long as it's safe, I've seen these starting to be formed all over the world in conscious communities. Cuddle groups. These are clothed, non-sexual cuddle groups where you're just being held. But make sure that they're safe. Make sure they're reputable, because there is danger in manipulation in that. But you can form cuddle groups with your close friends. And another thing that's actually more modern, that's coming to light, is weighted blankets. These weighted blankets actually really help to soothe our nervous system. I had a patient once who was not sleeping, and it turns out that their mother didn't hold them as a baby, and their partner liked to sleep alone, and they were having so much sleep issues. And we got them 2 weighted blankets because they were a Vata constitution, and within a few days they started sleeping better. So those are really important things. But I think the most important thing is having men's groups, creating safe spaces where men can speak their truth, where it's safe to say, I need a hug, I need love, I need attention, I need affection. And that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of immense strength and courage, inner strength, inner courage. So I think doing self-hug practices are really important. I give myself hugs every single day. So I'd like to offer something right now, wherever you are. Unless you're driving a car, pause and take a deep breath. And then cross your arms over your chest and place your hands on your shoulder and hug yourself and hold it. Really squeeze yourself and stay here for 20 seconds and give yourself a little rock. Give yourself a little hold. And really, as you do this, imagine you're holding the little child inside you, the child who was once told not to need anything, not to feel, not to speak, not to cry. And tell that little child, you're safe, you're loved, you belong, you deserve love, you deserve to give love, you deserve to be loved, because who you are is love. So really give yourself that beautiful hug. And you can do this all day long. You can do this throughout the day. This is such a simple thing to do. It's such a simple act. And just our own hugs really begin rewiring our nervous system. And it reminds the body that it is worthy of affection. It's worthy of affection from yourself, and it's worthy of affection from other people. So also, when you start to hug yourself, you feel more confident in hugging other people. Practice makes perfect. And as you hug other people, you feel more confident hugging yourself. So really think about this deeply. This is such a profound thing, and I think everyone needs to think about this. And if you're in a female form too, you identify as a male, whatever. Hug. Hug, 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 hug. Hug as many people as you can in a day. Everyone needs hugs. So if you're a man and you feel that deep ache for touch, you feel that deep ache for bonding, you're not broken, you're not alone, you're not weak, you're not soft. You are profoundly human, and your longing and desire for touch is sacred and divine. It's the divine longing to connect with the divine that created the whole universe to begin with. The universe wanted to touch itself, so it created all these things. And if you love a man, whether it's as a partner or if you're a mother or a sister or a friend, don't underestimate the power of hugging your man. It is not trivial. It is medicine. It may be the exact medicine they need to heal. It may even save someone's life. If someone's really suicidal or seriously depressed and we don't know what's going on in their head, maybe that one hug changes their mind about leaving this world. So let's not let men starve silently anymore. Let's normalize affection. Let's give the hugs that last long enough to change our chemistry, to change our hearts, and to remind us of the simple truth that we belong to each other. In ultimate reality, we are each other. Every water molecule in my body is speaking to every other water molecule on the planet. We're all in coherence or discoherence together. So let's hug each other back into coherence. I thank you for joining me today and really for being part of this conversation. And may it give you the medicine you need today to go out and hug yourself, hug someone, hug as many people as possible. If you know someone who could benefit from this, please share it with them. And let's start healing the world one hug at a time. Again, thank you for joining me. And until next week, fill your hearts with love, fill your arms with hugs, and go out and express that in everything you do. Namaste.